ERP, Microeconomics, and Machine Learning, AI. Scenario planning and budgeting, AI can be used to simulate different economic scenarios and their impact on the business. This helps with better budgeting, resource allocation, and strategic decision-making. Pradeep K. Suri. Author, researcher, and AIDNN architect. Book for your library. Scan QR code, bookstore in the cloud. Example, from Python program, on top of ERP and market data. The above graph consists of 3 time series graphs, one for each of sales revenue, operating costs, and net profit, plotted over quarters. The x-axis is labeled quarter and the y-axis for each graph is labeled accordingly. Each line in a graph represents a different economic scenario: economic boom, recession, and stagflation. The legend clarifies which line corresponds to which scenario. Sales revenue over quarters. The graph shows a steady increase in sales revenue across quarters for all 3 economic scenarios. Economic boom has the highest and recession has the lowest sales revenue throughout the year. Operating costs over quarters. Similar to sales revenue, operating costs also show an increase across quarters for all 3 scenarios. The economic boom has the highest operating costs throughout the year. Net profit over quarters. This graph reveals the impact of economic scenarios on net profit. Economic boom results in the highest net profit throughout the year, followed by stagflation and then recession. Interestingly, net profit is negative during recession for all 4 quarters. Overall, the graphs show that an economic boom leads to the highest sales revenue, operating costs, and net profit, followed by stagflation and then recession. Recession has the lowest sales revenue and results in negative net profit throughout the year. About Python program. Explanation of the Python program. This program visualizes sales revenue, operating costs, and net profit across quarters for different economic scenarios. Here's a breakdown of the code. 1. Imports. Matplotlib.pyplot as PLT imports the plotting functionalities from the Matplotlib library. Pandas as PD imports the data manipulation functionalities from the Pandas library. 2. Sample data. A dictionary data is created containing lists for each variable. Quarter, names of quarters, repeated for 3 years. Economic scenario, the economic scenario for each quarter, repeated sets for boom, recession, stagflation. Sales revenue, Indian rupee 000s sales revenue in thousands of rupees for each quarter. Operating costs, Indian rupee 000s operating costs in thousands of rupees for each quarter. Net profit, Indian rupee 000s net profit in thousands of rupees for each quarter. 3. Data transformation. The dictionary data is converted into a Pandas data frame named DF for easier data manipulation. 4. Plotting the data. PLT.subplots, 3, 1, fig size equals 8, 10, share x equals true, creates a figure with 3 rows, subplots, for each variable and sets the figure size to 8 inches wide and 10 inches high. The share x equals true ensures all subplots share the same x-axis. 5. Looping through economic scenarios. A loop iterates through the unique values in the economic scenario column. Inside the loop, a subset of the data frame DF is created containing only rows where the economic scenario matches the current scenario. The plot function from Matplotlib is used to plot the quarter versus the corresponding value, sales revenue, operating costs, or net profit, for this specific scenario. Markers, O, are added for better visualization. Legends are created to distinguish between the different economic scenarios. 6. Setting plot titles and labels. Titles and labels are set for each subplot using set_title, set_label, and set_label. Subplot titles, sales revenue over quarters, operating costs over quarters, and net profit over quarters. Y-axis labels, sales revenue, Indian rupee 000s, operating costs, Indian rupee 000s, and net profit, Indian rupee 000s. Shared x-axis label for the entire figure, quarter, using figure subs label. 7. Final touches. PLT.tight_layout, adjusts the spacing between subplots for better readability. PLT.show, displays the generated plot. Overall, this program effectively visualizes the trends in sales revenue, operating costs, and net profit across quarters, considering the impact of different economic scenarios.